coming back and joining me in the library corner. We are at Deal Elementary School today in the Deal Elementary School Library. And I have Mrs. Russell's 4th grade class as my special guests today. So the class will be here and we are going to read My Teacher is a Monster. No, I Am Not. And that book is by Peter Brown, and he's also the illustrator. And also, we are going to read Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus with author-illustrator Mo Willems. So both books are illustrated and written by one person, the author. So I'm glad that you came back to the library corner. Hello everyone, here we are at Deal Elementary School today, and not only are we at Deal Elementary School in the library, but I have with me Mrs. Russell's grade 4 students. And here we are today in the library corner. Yes, so thank you for coming back. Today everyone, I'm going to read the story that we've chosen, and I think I have a helper with the story. I think I do somewhere. Oh, there you are. Hi, how are you?
Awesome. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm glad to see you. What was your name again?
My name is Bobby.
Today for the story, you're going to be called Bobby?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you have a real name?
Fred.
Oh, Freddie. Okay. Well, I'm glad you've come to read with me today and to the students at Deal Elementary.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have Freddie with us here today. And so, Freddie, do you want to tell them we're reading today the story?
My teacher is a monster.
No, I am not. And this story, boys and girls, is by Peter Brown. And I don't see an illustrator listed, so I'm going to assume that Peter Brown is the illustrator as well. Bobby had a big problem at school. Her name was Mrs. Kirby. Robert! Move it or lose it! Mrs. Kirby stomped. Settle down! Mrs. Kirby roared. No recess for children who throw paper airplanes in class. Mrs. Kirby was a monster. Bobby spent his free time in the park trying to forget his teacher problems. But one Saturday morning, on the way to his favorite spot, Bobby found a terrible surprise. Bobby wanted to run. He wanted to hide, but he knew that would only make things worse. Robert, you don't need to raise your hand out here. What were you going to say?
I was going to say hello, Miss Kirby.
Hello, Robert.
I like your enormous hat, Miss Kirby.
Thank you, Robert.
Miss Kirby, it's really strange seeing you outside of school.
I agree. There was an awkward silence, and then a gust of wind changed everything. That's my favorite hat! My dear old granny gave it to me. Don't let it get away.
Got it.
Oh, Bobby, you are my hero. I mean, that was very good of you, Robert.
You're welcome, Miss Kirby.
Quack, quack, quack.
Those ducks sure like you.
They know I enjoy quacking with them. Quack,
Quack, quack, quack, quack, quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
Affleck.
quack. When they were all quacked out, Bobby had an idea.
You should see my favorite spot in the park.
Be careful.
Yes, Miss Kirby.
This is lovely. And then Mrs. Kirby had an idea. Boys and girls, what's she doing? What's she giving him? Can you see? What's he going to do? Make a paper airplane. Bobby tossed his paper airplane into the sky, and it flew and flew and flew.
I think that was the single greatest paper airplane flight in history.
I think you're right. By lunchtime, Bobby and Mrs. Kirby were happy they had bumped into each other, but they were ready to say goodbye. See you Monday, Bobby.
Bye, Miss Kirby.
Coming through. Back at school, Mrs. Kirby still stomped. And then the bear said, roar! Mrs. Kirby still roared. Great job, Bobby. But was Mrs. Kirby still a monster? Robert! The end. Was Mrs. Kirby still a monster? What did she become as we watched her in the...
Nice.
She became nice.
At the end,
Yeah, she was a regular person. Yes, Freddie?
Hi.
Hi, I see you. You did a very good job of reading. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Let's ask the kids some more questions, shall we?
Go right ahead.
Oh. So Bobby and Mrs. Kirby kind of got along in the end, didn't they? Yes. Sort of like Freddie and I are getting closer and closer together. Huh? Yes, you're very good. I'm going to spot on you. So, Freddie, do you think that you're up for another book?
You never know. I think so.
I think you can help me with this one. Boys and girls,
Uh-oh.
what's this book?
Don't let the pigeon drive the bus.
That's right, and this is one of our favorites everywhere, and so Freddie's going to help me read it. So this one is Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, Words and Pictures by Mo Willems. What's the name of the guy who writes the pictures in the book? What's that? Mo Willems, and he is an illustrator and an author. He does the words and the pictures. Very good. You guys are so smart. Hi, I'm the bus driver. Listen, I've got to leave for a little while, so you can watch things for me until I get back. Thanks. Oh, and remember, don't let the pigeon drive the bus. Off he goes. There goes the bus driver. So the pigeon says, right there, I thought he'd never leave.
Hey, can I drive the bus? Pick me.
Please? I'll be careful. I'll tell you what. I'll just steer. My cousin Herb drives a bus almost every day. True story. Should he let him drive the bus?
No.
Vroom, vroom, vroomy, vroom, vroom. Pigeon at the wheel. No? I never get to do anything. Hey, I've got an idea. Let's play Drive the Bus.
I'll go first.
Come on, just once around the block. I'll be your best friend. How about I give you $5? No. No fair. I bet your mom would let me. What's the big deal? It's just a bus. I have dreams, you know. Fine.
Let me drive the bus.
I'm back. You didn't let the pigeon drive the bus, did you? No. Great. Thanks a lot. Uh-oh. Bye. Hey. What's he see now? What's he going to drive now? Trucks. That's right. Oh, that pigeon. The end. That pigeon, he's always getting into something, isn't he? Yes, bless you. What do you think, Freddie? That pigeon, he's always getting into something.
Yep, he sure is.
So in both instances, we had didn't we have two people, and they wanted to, like, we had two characters who wanted to get along with something else, didn't they? And they didn't get along, did they? Did the pigeon get along with the bus driver? Did the pigeon get his way? No. So they didn't really get along. But what about Bobby and his teacher? Did they end up getting along? Yeah. Do you think that sometimes things that don't really go together sometimes get along? Yeah? Yeah? And do you think that Bobby saw his teacher differently?
Yes.
Did she see Bobby differently?
Yes.
Do you think that she liked Bobby more?
Yes.
Did she yell as much?
No.
No. And Bobby didn't see her as a monster. Did you see her changing? Did you see her? Look, right there. Was she a monster or what?
Yes.
Yeah, and then look back here. Oh, look at that.
Green at the end.
Yeah, she turns a little bit green, huh? Yeah, right, Sammy. Yeah. So, but she still wasn't, yes, Robert! So, sometimes things that kind of don't go together, sometimes they can learn to get together, right? Right, Freddie? Hi, everyone. So I thought we would talk about some books today, and I have some series books, and I have some books that have sort of a special theme to them. The first book I want to talk about is the second book in a trilogy, and this book is entitled Hollow City, and it is the second novel of Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children. And these books are written by a man named Ransom Riggs. And the first book, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, was it was sort of an odd book in that the author, Ransom Riggs, what an unusual name in and of itself, but Ransom Riggs was at a yard sale. Have you ever been to yard sales in the summer with your mom and dad and your grandma and grandpa? And Ransom Riggs found a box of photographs, and the photographs were really, really, really unusual. And they were of odd children who were oddities. One of the pictures looked like the little girl was levitating. One of the pictures looked as though it was the back of somebody's head, but there were teeth coming out of it. One of the pictures was a very weird looking clown. And so Ransom Riggs took those pictures, and I'm going to show you in a minute, but Ransom Riggs took those pictures and he invented an entire story around those pictures. And it starts off with a boy whose family is kind of wealthy, and they own a chain of drugstores, and the family is very wealthy. And but the boy has a grandfather, and his grandfather always shows him those pictures. Every time he goes to see his grandfather, he shows him those weird pictures that are kind of creepy. And so one day his grandfather dies in a very unusual manner, and the boy thinks that something is going on, and he starts investigating his grandfather and finds out that his grandfather didn't just die, he was murdered. And the pictures, and you can see here's an example of one of the pictures. You really can't see too much there, but there's probably an entire story around that. Look at that picture. And they're all real pictures, and they're all kind of weird, kind of eerie pictures. And in the front, he shows you all of the characters. And so Emma Bloom, she has to do something with fire. She can have fire come out of her hands. And here is Enoch O'Connor, and he can bring dead things back to life. And so, these are all real pictures from somewhere, and he created this story when he found those real pictures. So there are three books. There is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and then the second one is Hollow City, and as we speak, he is writing the third book. So I can't wait to finish the series. I've read numbers 1 and number 2, and number 3 is coming up. And so also kind of dealing with grandparents, there's this book. This is called Mayor's War, and this was about a girl and her grandmother. And her grandmother was protesting the Vietnam War, which is a war a long time ago, in the 60s and the 70s. And it's a story about how the girl's grandmother, her name was Mayor, how she was protesting that war, and I just thought it was kind of interesting. It's a very, very good book, but I thought it was kind of interesting that we had 2 grandparent books today. So I picked those 2 out for you, and then I also picked out these 2 books. Now, these 2 books are examples of formula books, and you guys love formula books. This one is James Patterson, and James Patterson, this is his Maximum Ride series, and James Patterson started out writing mystery stories for adults. And formula or formulaic means that the books kind of follow the same set pattern for every book. So if your grandma or grandpa or your mom or dad watches Law and Order, we all know that with Law and Order, the first half is the police investigation and the second half is the district attorney. And so we know that that's the formula that's going to be for every show. And James Patterson is a formulaic writer. And he has certain things that he does every time he writes the book. And so he's one author. He writes mystery stories, and then this one, The Vampire Diaries, and these are Stefan's diaries, and this is Stefan with the very dreamy look. And these are The Vampire Diaries, and they are written by L.J. Smith, and of course they are all about vampires, and they are formulaic as well. The same thing is going to happen. You can almost predict it, but they're so predictable that you love them. You love those characters, and you love the way that story is going to come out. There was another author, and her name was Mary Higgins Clark, and she wrote mystery stories, and they kind of came out that way. There are a lot of writers who kind of write in the same way, and that's called a formula. And so these are two examples of formulaic books that you guys just love. And so I hope that you will go to the library, whether it's your school library or the public library, and take a look at these books, and hopefully you will check them out. So I have all of these things here for you today. And so I want to say thank you for coming to the library corner, and I hope you had a good time with the kids at Deal Elementary and Miss Russell's class, and I hope you liked Freddie. So we'll see you next time on or in the library corner. Bye.